I mean it. I am very, very thankful and humbled by this kahal and our family here. The offering, the getting, it's an offering just to get clothes on your kids sometimes and get here, right? Shoes on them maybe and get them out the door. But it's an offering, though, just for you to be here and to bring your presence. And I know not everybody's happy and excited to be here. Sometimes you just had a really bad week. But it's still an offering that you would say, but God. I'm going to come, but God. That's right, because as you walk in these doors and you say, I come with expectancy, there is a transformation that happens. It is why we have a bowl of water by the door, that if you need to remind yourself that, yes, I need to wash off this week. I need to wash off the things that were plaguing my mind this week. Then do it. You know, if you got to get up in the middle of service, it's okay. Go do it. Just don't do it loudly, right? So, well, yeah. She's not here to yell at us today. I'm just kidding. Anyway, no one will yell. So I wanted to go back into, I've titled this message, Return to Intimacy. It's going to seem like a weird title maybe compared to what we go into, but I'm really praying that God reveals himself in this way, because when we return to the heart of God, when we really seek the heart of God, when we ask him, what are your ways? What are your instructions? What's your heart for my life? Am I a pleasing aroma to you? That's when we start to return to intimacy. How many of you have ever asked your spouse that, or even your children, things in them? Hey, what is it that you need? Am I meeting some of those emotional needs in your life? Why would we ask a question like that of our spouse or our children? Because we want to have good relationship, right? Deep, close relationship. It makes ourselves vulnerable, but in that vulnerability, that's when Yahweh says, yep, and he meets us right there in it. I heard a really beautiful just statement today that in this time, like to Kathy's point about the king being in the field, it's not that he's not with us. That was good. I'm glad you said that. But it's that in this time, he's urging at a greater insistency that press into me. Release the things you've been holding on to. And when you make that inward surrender, when you say, I want to, he puts his foot on the scales and he makes it that much easier for us. He makes it so that there's a way. And you can see that in your life. There's seasons where it's extremely hard to make any changes, right? And then there's times when he just pushes you forward and he compels you. We're in that season that he is pushing us forward. Just make the inward surrender. Yeah, the harvest is ready. Don't be puny in it. Because it says the workers are puny. Don't be. Hebrew thought, this is a review from last week. The Torah, called Torat Israel, the people, Am Israel, and the land, Eretz Israel, cannot be separated. That is a Hebrew concept. When there is covenant made with the people, it binds the land to the people and the people to the land. We are going to just keep repeating this topic because it's another thing that when you see something at first glance, you can get it logically, right? You can understand the concept. Getting it from here to your heart can take a little longer. And it takes multiple exposures to those things for it to really marinate in your spirit. Every covenant made with the people of the Bible connected them to the land of Israel, especially the covenant of Torah. It's interesting because I heard someone say, I think it was just this morning or last night on YouTube, not in my life personally, that because we have the new covenant now, the other ones were thrown out. And I thought, have you read the new covenant? Where do you think it was created from? It's a repeat of Jeremiah 31. I thought, wow, what an interesting thing. We have to ask God to see that. Can you put that on my heart? Can you help me to understand that? That renewed covenant is what he did back in the Old Testament over and over and over again. So those covenants, just a real quick review that we need to know and have in our hearts and our minds. Sabbaths. That's the first one. That was in creation, right? Seventh day. Does it say anywhere in the Bible, did Yeshua, Jesus say, let's change this day? Does it say that anywhere, that we need to do Sunday instead? No, if you go back and look at the works of Constantine, he's the one who said that. But it was to give a day of the week for the land and the people to rest. Those things go hand in hand. The Edenic covenant, so Eden, the earth is blessed with the ability to grow life and provide for mankind, right? Again, this is not something that can be separated out. The Adamic covenant, Adam, which literally means of the earth or of the ground, established a peaceful relationship with the earth, one that we don't have to be in fear of our lives because of the earth. There are things that sometimes do freak us out, but that God gave us dominion over it. Then we have the Noahic covenant, Noah. Never again will the earth and mankind be destroyed by a flood. Notice the word land or earth is in all of these covenants. The Abrahamic covenant, blessing to those who blessed him, inheritance of the land, and fruitfulness. And there's so many more with Abraham. How about faith? He's the father of our faith. We have that relationship because of faith. It's a foreshadowing of the relationship we have with Jesus, right? Through faith. So then we have the Mosaic, Moses. This is the teaching. This was, hey, you got saved. You understand what it means to walk with Jesus. Now I'm going to teach you how to walk in obedience with my instruction so that you live a blessed life. So there was blessings for this. If you read it all throughout, Deuteronomy 28, it was in last week. We saw it in Deuteronomy 3. Blessings for obedience that come from the earth and the body, right? You'll be fruitful in your basket. You'll be fruitful in your body. Plenty of food. Nations will be driven out before you. The earth is yours. You will have dominion over the earth. Then we have the Davidic covenant. This was, again, a foreshadowing of King Jesus. An everlasting kingdom, rest from your enemies, a land for God's people. This is what that battle going on over there in the Middle East, in Israel, is for. A land for God's people. But it's also a battle that goes on in our hearts. Because if it's synonymous, there is a land for God's people, but everything in our flesh fights against that identity. Does that make sense? And then we have the renewed covenant that's spoken about in Ezekiel, in Jeremiah, and also in Hebrews. And it's to the people of the Bible, period. That means the people that made covenant and those that make covenant today. But it extended to everyone who comes to Yeshua. Torah is written on our hearts and our minds. And it is not that he put the law on our hearts and our minds. He says, I'm going to put my instruction in you so that you know that is an unrighteous thing to do. You don't have to go and consult your Bible. I mean, sometimes you might need to, for reals, it's okay. But you know that's wrong. You feel that conviction in your spirit because it's written here. And he's doing that more and more. He's writing it there. This includes and further establishes all the prior covenants made. Go back and read it. If he says, I'm writing this on your heart, what? The thing that was thrown away? How? Why? Is he contradicting himself? No. Thank you. So why is this important for us? What does it have to do with anything we're doing in today in 2025? Yeah, it connects us to the people, the land, and the Torah. It is our inheritance. And our inheritance has been stolen. How angry would you be to know that you were supposed to inherit millions of dollars, but someone came in and said, well, that's not for you. You weren't actually a son of this person, so that you don't get to have that. You'd be angry and you'd fight for it, wouldn't you? That's what happened. That's what has happened over the years. It's incredible to me that it's over hundreds of years that these things got twisted. People were walking. It was called the way. If any of you know that, in the first, second, and even third century, the Jewish believers in Jesus were called the way. And then Constantine came along, and then Eusebius and Origen and all these other, Marcion, they came in, and they twisted some things. There's a reason I'm going, so I'm giving us some more history again, and I know a lot of you know this, but it's really important that we understand. If we don't see ourselves as connected to the land, the people, and the Torah of Israel, we will not inherit the fullness of what Yahweh has for us. There is even the possibility that we will be one of their persecutors. You see that with Christians today. There's well-known Christian political commentators that are very much against Israel at the moment. And even though they see it in the Bible, there's a twisting that's going on. If any of you have ever heard of Rabbi Stanley Wagner, held, I don't believe he's still alive, a PhD in Jewish history, recognized as one of the foremost authorities on the history of Israel, while speaking at a national conference, he stated his 5-point rule regarding Israel. You can say you love Israel. You can say you love the people of Israel. You can say you love the God of Israel. You can say you love the land of Israel. But if you don't love his teaching and instruction, and you teach against it, you will be anti-Semitic. It is something that comes through without our intention. It is something that is a part of us because it's the flesh warring against the promises of God. History has shown, and I'm not putting this on anybody here, he's talking about his historical studies. People that would not stand with Israel eventually turned their back on them. There is a new-ish viewpoint. I say new-ish because the enemy is not creative. It's just same spirit, different words. So a newish viewpoint that is becoming popularized right now. The Jews of today, the Israel of today, is not the people of the Bible. Not the same land, not the same people, different borders. It's too confusing. We couldn't possibly know. Therefore, we don't have to support them anymore. Their fight is not our fight. Has anyone ever heard that? Yeah. Who are the Jews? That's even the thing now. Who are the Jews if they're not the Jews? It's like, oh my God. It's another scheme of the enemy to disassociate with those people. It's what happened hundreds of years ago in 300 AD. It was those little measures over time so that you disassociate. We do that in our lives too. We make decisions. We push God out of our the areas that we want to keep to ourselves. We disassociate. We start believing lies. We speak lies that cause us to pull away from that intimacy with Yahweh. This is a little clip I want to play. I'm going to go back. Tell me when you're ready and I'll...
And those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel.
That's right, you were born knowing.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the...
It's in Genesis. But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. You don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Biblically, we are commanded to support Israel.
We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel.
So that's what that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
So is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah,
this is silly. I'm talking about the political entity of modern Israel.
Yes, and that is
You believe that's what God was talking about in Genesis?
I do, but
that country's existed since when?
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible.
So, does that make you gag a little bit? There's such a mincing of words too, but Tucker absolutely knew what he was saying in that. It was such a twisting of things. But it's also, he is confused. There is a deception, and that is a common thing being spoken now, that, oh, so thousands of years ago when the Bible was written, it was written for our modern day Israel. Are you stupid? You believe that? That is the condescending attitude. But gosh, that's sad, because was the Bible written for us today, period? kind of goes hand in hand. These are things we need to know. We need to be equipped with. We need to be able to understand. That Paul Wilbur concert last week was incredible. It was more than a concert. It was a time of worship. It was a prophetic act. It was bringing people, so many of us there, that so many that were sitting here, that maybe this was their first understanding that you're grafted into Israel. I did hear a report of one gentleman who reached out to a pastor friend of mine, walked away very confused by the whole thing, saying, I don't understand, how are we a part of Israel? Had this viewpoint that I thought that was ancient. What about the 144,000? Like, he was all over the map, but just did not understand. And thankfully, my friend knew how to answer him. But these are things we need to be equipped with. Some of us are still walking in a belief system in our head that was passed down generation to generation, unchecked and twisted by men and women with agendas to disconnect us from the Hebrew roots of our faith. If that statement is offensive, if that brings up a guttural reaction in you, ask the Lord about it. Go test what I'm saying. Ask him, did I miss something? Did I inherit lies? Because the Bible says we did. There are scriptures that, yes, we inherited the lies of our forefathers, and we need to test everything and submit it to God. Deuteronomy 12:5 says, rather you are to seek only the place Yahweh your God chooses from all your tribes to put his name to dwell. There you will come. There is an important concept that God is giving us here. He wants us to gather together. And if we are disconnected from intimacy with God, intimacy with people, if we don't want to get close to anyone, we will not do this. It says that when you bring your offering, yeah, you can eat your meat, you can do all that within your gates, but if you're going to bring your offering, he's like, you better not just do it anywhere. It needs to be where I put my name. Raise your hand if God has put his name on you. Amen. That's why I brought my offering here today, because I see that he put his name on you. If the people, the Torah, and the land all go together, does it seem as though Yahweh wants us to come together? Maybe, yeah. Every Jewish person I have spoken to says it's community. How can you not understand that you're supposed to be in a community? He goes, one that I talked to recently was like, I don't understand Messianics that do not gather together. I don't either, because they want to be like Jews, but they're not. And we're not supposed to be like Jews, by the way. We're not called to be grafted into the Jewish people. We are called to be grafted into Yeshua, into Israel. They know, though, and there are a lot of things that we can learn and glean from that, and that is to come together, because they understood that concept. That's how many survived the Holocaust. That's how many knew to get out before they were persecuted in the Holocaust, because they stayed in community and they had each other's backs. The place that he chooses, these are the statutes and the ordinances that you're to make sure to do in the land that Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has given you to possess all the days that you live on the earth. That didn't just say for then. I'm still living on the earth. How about you? All the days. You must utterly destroy all the places where the nations that you will dispossess served their gods, on the high mountains, the hills, and under every green tree. All right, so how many have gone out and smashed some altars of Baal? Okay, physically. Okay, that's cool. How many have done that in your heart, in your life, in the land here? Amen. You are to tear down their altars, smash their pillars, burn their Asherah poles in the fire, and cut down the carved images of their gods, and you are to obliterate their name from that place. You know, the nation of Assyria got their name from the god Asherah, now modern-day Syria. You are not to act like this toward Yahweh your God. Rather, you are to seek only the place that he chooses from all your tribes to put his name to dwell. There you will come. There you're to bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes, the offering of your hand. What is that? The offering of your hand. Hey, brother, do you need some help? Hey, can I help you out to the car? Can I do these things for you? Your vow and free will offerings and the firstborn of your herd and of your flock. That means your very best. The things that you would want. Think about it too. You've got a herd, you've got a flock, whatever. The firstborn that comes out, you may not get any more, right? That mama might die. That calf, or not calf, but what's a female cow? Cow. That cow might die. Heifer. Doesn't matter, my brain. They might die. But it is a step of faith that says, but Lord, this is yours. I give this to you. And how many times when we give of that amazing faith offering, does he pour out a blessing for us far beyond our needs? All the time, 100% of the time. Some might even say 1,000%. There you and your households will eat before Yahweh your God and rejoice in every undertaking of your hand as Yahweh your God has blessed you. You will not do all the things as we're doing here today, whatever's right in your own eyes. That sounds sort of like 2025 in America, huh? For you have not yet come to the resting place and the inheritance that Yahweh your God has given you. What's he talking about? The land. They hadn't crossed over yet, but they're about to. They're on that cusp. How many of us have been on that cusp of graduation, of knowing God is taking us to a deeper intimacy with us, a success, and everything in us fights it. Every bit of disorder comes out, every bit of fear, and I can't, that's too much. I don't want to be seen. And I don't want people to see the bad, the ugly in me. I just want them to see the good. But when we get to that place, if we will press in, that's when our God comes in and he heals. And he brings about amazing, amazing graduation. So when you cross over the Jordan and you settle in the land that Yahweh your God enables you to inherit, he enables you. That means he puts his foot on the scale. He's like, I just made it a little bit easier for you. Meaning, in your heart, have you surrendered? Because he will grab you with his right arm, his mighty right hand, and he'll say, let's go, I got you. And he gives you rest from your enemies, and you will dwell in safety. When we seek to do it our way, we remove those fences. We remove those boundary lines. We allow anything to touch us. We allow anything to come at our families and us. But when we dwell in his covering, when we do it his way, he circles the wagons. That's what's so cool too. That ancient word for gates, I just had it, now it's gone. The Hebrew word, but the ancient understanding of it is that it's that he takes you and it's a surrounding, it's a protection. And it's related to the word for thorns, because that's how they made their corrals, were thorns. I think we talked about this last week. But those thorns, he puts those around us too. Then the place that your God, Yahweh, chooses to make his name dwell, there you are to bring all that I command you. Again, your burnt offering, sacrifices, tithes, offering of your hand, your finest that you vow to Yahweh. Then you will rejoice before Yahweh your God, you, your sons, your daughters, your slaves, your maids, the Levite in your towns, for he has no position or inheritance among you. Be careful that you don't offer your burnt offerings in any place you see, any place that just feels good. I just really like being at home. I just feel so much more relaxed. I feel closer to God. I just, it's easier. I can be in my jammies. Yeah, my giving up clothes. Okay, I can do this at home. Yeah, so it's okay. Sometimes we all have them, but I really like mine too. But that is offering it in any place you see. Do so only in the place Yahweh chooses in one of your tribes. There you are to offer your burnt offerings, and there you are to do all that I'm commanding you. Those are strong words for us. Those are our inheritance, though. So don't get offended by it. Test it. But I feel God's presence when I am alone in nature. How many of you have heard that or said that? I've heard that multiple times. I just feel more spiritual when I'm out in nature. Or don't even say nature. I just feel less distracted when I'm just alone and I can do this on my own. It's too hard to do this with people. It's scary. It's all the things. Okay, again, this is when Pastor Mark and I have been teaching on community. It's not because we thought it was such a great, the latest and greatest teaching that we just wanted to kick out there. It's our life. It's the difference between life and death. It's the difference between what we pass to our children, whether they are going to overcome or they're going to repeat the same patterns of trauma that we have gone through, because we react in a trauma response and we don't press in faith. Guess what our kids see and that gets modeled for them. And they walk it out. And then they have to deal with it. And they call us up angry. Mom, Dad, why didn't you ever press into this? Why didn't you ever trust God enough to overcome this? I don't want that for my kids. And even they're all grown. Okay? They don't always act it, but they're all grown. Just making sure she was listening. I'm just teasing. That I even now have some of that covering over them, that there is a change in the spirit realms, that when I press in and I break curses in my family line today, that goes and it extends to my grown adult children and back. The last day bride remnant is not alone. He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters. That's Matthew 12:30. There is something that Yeshua repeated over and over and over. He didn't just say, look at the wording in that. He who is not with me scatters. You may not intentionally be going out and saying, hey, brother, come over here. If you're not with him and his heart to gather together, to stand with Israel, to even be willing to wear a Star of David, or something that is Jewish paraphernalia, whatever that looks like, then, and I think that's a powerful testimony right now. When we had Noam and Adi stand up here, Hanok stood up here, we've had others that said, this isn't the time to hide your Stars of David. It's not the time to put away those things. It's time to wear them. Paul Wilbur said it too, that it is time to stand in those places. That's the warfare we stand in. But in understanding that we stand in the gap for the bold things, and we fight for those who can't, we fight for ourselves in that too. We stand boldly in those areas that God wants us to walk into. If we are synonymous with the land, then we must realize that we have the ability to also persecute or sabotage ourselves. Isn't that an interesting concept? Because we can, if we are not wholehearted in what we're doing, we're divided and we scatter. And the enemy looks for those chinks, right? The enemy looks for those bits where he can say, oh, then I can take them out here. It takes faith to see ourselves as the anointed land of God that is full of seeds and abundant life. When you look at your life, do you see your legacy? Do you see a barren wasteland? Do you see a good, fruitful land that people can glean from? That is seen with Reah, the eyes of faith. It is that ability not only to see physically, but to know, to understand, to experience that it is our God that's in the midst of that too. That's what people are seeing, but it has to start with an inward surrender. So you are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. So if you're feeling beat up and you're feeling like, okay, I'm never going to be worthy, this is what Yeshua says to us. You're already clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. And again, it's not just because I said a word over you and you were like, oh, that's cool. It's because you brought it in and you've made it a part of yourself. It is a part of your being. And Yeshua says, I see my mark on you. You're clean. That's what the blood of the door on the doorpost, right? It's his mark. He saw us as clean. He can't look at us if we're not clean. That's why his blood has to be on us, because then he is able. He sees us. And we are clean. Abide in me, though. That's key word. That's an if statement. Abide in me. Abide in me doesn't just mean to turn to him when you're in need. It means that he is on your lips in the morning. He's on your lips when you go to bed. He is on your mind and your heart all day long. And to your friends, your family, your kids, all those things, they just pour out of you. The branch cannot itself produce fruit unless it abides on the vine. Likewise, you cannot produce fruit unless you abide in me. I wanted to share something that I thought was really touching, and I just forgot. It's on my phone. I was just thinking the other day when we drove up to Dr. Tony and Kim's place of business, their chiropractic business on North Avenue. It has a Jewish flag in the window. I thought, that's a bold move. There's a lot of people that would probably be very afraid to even put that in their window. And I wonder if business has, if you've lost any business over it. But you know what? You'll absolutely gain business because of our God. I'm really proud of people that are willing to be that bold. But do you guys remember when Noam Badin was here from Israel? He wrote an article recently that in, let me find it. What was it? I got to go back. Sorry. It's coming. Okay, well, it's there. There it is. Okay. Israel's strategic alliance, rebuilding through faith and belief. And it's writing about all of their travels in America. And actually, North America. They didn't just go to the U.S. They went to Canada as well. And they talked about the common thread that they kept seeing through the Christian churches and most of them were Christian churches that they went to. The common theme was not only people that were like, hey, we support you, but people that were like, we stand with you. We identify with you. That's the difference. That is the difference. That you're willing to put your business, you're willing to put your neck on the line. You're willing to die to go to the death camps with them. Because there was not much of a distinction made in Nazi Germany between a Sabbath-keeping Christian and a Jewish person, amongst many others too. They are grouped together, so you may as well get used to it. But there was one part in particular. The covenant bond and moral clarity these allies offer are not optional luxuries. They are strategic imperatives. If Israel is to withstand the battle of narratives and secure its rightful place among the nations, it must act, not only in parliaments and press rooms, but also in the hearts of those who through faith refuse to be moved. The time to rebuild this alliance is now. That gives me goosebumps because he didn't know I was writing this sermon. I didn't know he wrote this article. But that covenantal relationship, that was neat. He also writes in there that they are tied to the land. They can't get away from it. And even wrote that there was a time where it felt burdensome, that they were tied to it and it felt like a burden, but that God has shown them it's a blessing. And he showed them that through their travels here. What a neat thing, huh? So abide in him, and I will abide in you. The branch cannot itself produce fruit unless it abides on the vine. Likewise, you can't produce fruit unless you abide in me. I am the vine, and you are the branches. The one who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit, for apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and is dried up. Such branches are picked up and thrown into the fire and burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. In this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. That's I think it would be good to read through John 15 this week and really ask the Lord what it means to abide in him. Are you seeing it yet? That we're grafted into the land, the people, and HaTorah, that we are to abide in this place. That when someone asks us, and I have begun to even start to say, I identify with you. Yes, I may not be Jewish, and I don't care if it offends anymore, because I know there's some that are like, well, why? And you're not Jewish, and you don't, but I don't even care. I'm like, I do. I do. I identify with you, and I love the Jewish people. I love Israel. I love the Torah. I love these connections that God has given us. These are my people. We need volume. If it played already, I don't know. Woohoo! I was like, what, 2-3 years ago? We can move on. Yeah. That was cool. Or I guess that was 2 years ago. Was it right after the war started? And that was some of those statements of faith that we put out. It's cool. We will do it again. And Sukkot starts this year on October 7th, so it's the 2-year anniversary. We'll have those 1,200 flags out here on our front lawn. That is to represent each one for the hostages that were taken during the war. Those killed, I thought it was all of them. Yes. But I've also asked, since the Paul Wilbur concert, there's 3 pastors that would like to have those flags delivered to their congregations, and they want to display them as well. So, yeah. 3 may not seem like much, but don't despise the day of small beginnings, right? And how pleasant, good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. That is the heart of our God, that just come together in unity. I want to say right now, because we are coming into a season of, we are in a season where God is turning our hearts and minds to Him. If we have anything against a brother, if we think our brother has something against us, go get it right, because our offering will not be accepted. Do it. This is that time. Kathy talked about it, those 40 days right now, that from the beginning of Elul to Yom Teruah. That is an important time. It is a time where God is really pulling on our hearts and saying, I want everything that you would hold between you and me out the way. I want that intimacy with you. So go make it right. And if you can't do it alone, tell someone, I need help. I need to have a conversation. Can you help me bridge that? Because I'm not very good at doing it, or I'm in a bad place. Whatever it is, go do it. Make it right. This is the time. Biblical. It's in Matthew 8. The last slide, leaving this with you. And I'm still early, so it's fine. But Jeremiah 31 through 34. Not like the covenant I made with their fathers in the day I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. For they broke that covenant. Though I was a husband to them, it is a declaration of Yahweh. He didn't say I broke that covenant, right? Or that I changed my mind. They broke it. So guess what? I have to renew it because they were faithless, but I'm faithful. This is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days. Who's Israel? We are also a part of Israel. It is a declaration of Adonai. I will put my Torah within them. Yes, I will write it on their heart. I will be their God, and they will be my people. No longer will each teach his neighbor or each his brother, saying, no, Adonai, yada, intimacy, for they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest. It is a declaration of Adonai, for I will forgive their lawlessness, their sin I will remember no more. Thus says Adonai, who gives the sun as a light by day, and the fixed order of the moon, and the stars as a light by night, who stirs up the sea so its waves roar. Adonai Zevaot is his name. That is Lord of the armies. That's the one that goes to war for us right there. He will do it. So thank you, Yahweh, for doing it. Stand up with me, please, will you? Yep. Okay, so go, and you're asking to go back? 3. There? One more. This one. Mark, you want to lead us in that? Pastor Mark? Your voice isn't terrible. Okay, I'm going to pray, and then we'll go into it. Yeshua, thank you for this time. I thank you that you are teaching us what it means. I thank you that you have written that covenant on our heart, and that you are giving that time, that understanding. Reveal yourself to us in a greater way. Convict our hearts that there's areas we need to get right with another brother or sister, or even in ourselves, areas that we need to surrender to you. I thank you right now that you show us how to judge rightly, how to divide rightly, Yahweh, with your righteousness. Thank you for the meal. Thank you for being so faithful in all these areas. Bless your name, Yeshua. Amen.